Hi YouTube. Today we're going to give a little love to the Polymer Wonders. And I get a lot of slack because everybody thinks that I don't like polymer frame guns. Well, I have a few of them here, right here in front of you, and every one of them are mine. So how can I not like polymer guns if I have this many polymer guns? So anyway, today I was going to discuss if polymer guns are any good, what are some advantages and the disadvantages of them, and if you think you should own a polymer frame gun. So I've got a variety of them here, and before I go any further, before I shot this video, before I turn this camera on, every single one of these were safety checked. It just takes too long to go through every single one of these. I have 9 or 10 of them sitting here right in front of you. And it would take me 2 or 3 minutes to sit here and open every slide and show them to you. But when I pick them up, I'll show you each time that there's nothing in them. Everybody is safe. The whole YouTube community does not have to duck. There'll be no bullets coming through this camera at you. So you're safe to watch it. If you don't feel safe to watch this video, then you might want to shut it off right now. So anyway, so here's the topic. Polymer guns. Folks, are not going anywhere. I'm an iron and steel guy myself. I like, real steel weapon handguns. And there's nothing better than like a 1911 in your hand or good old revolver or something like that. But face to facts, folks, technology has come a long way in this world, and we have to accept it. And these polymer frame guns, they're not going anywhere. So we'll start off, let's see, where should we start? We'll start off with the mighty Glock here. Now I'm going to show you there's nothing in this mighty Glock, and this is what got it all started, folks. This one here happens to be a Glock 19. This is generation 5. This is chambered in 9mm. Now if you notice, I put all the man guns here in the bottom row, and I put all the not so manly guns in top row. So all the manly guns here are all chambered in 45. All the top ones are 9mm and other various not 45 guns. Because everybody knows that 45 is the Lord's caliber. But anyway, this is a 9mm Glock, and this design came out around 1982. The Glock did, and boy, I tell you what, it hit with the storm. And all the people that were old school people, they have a big problem with it's made out of plastic. The whole frame is made out of plastic, and everybody said it's not going to be any good or anything. And boy, I tell you what, this gun is probably the most reliable gun that anybody could ever buy. I mean, they set the benchmark for reliability. They call it Glock perfection, and they really live up to their advertisement. Their slogan is Glock perfection because these things do not fail. And they went for years. This was the only company you could get that was an actual polymer frame gun. Now, one of the things about these things is they don't have a hammer on them. If you look on the end, there's no hammer on the end of this gun. It's a striker fires, internal striker fired, and these guns, the crazy thing about them is, especially with a Glock, it's not true with all of them, but with a Glock, there's no safety on it. So beginners, they're really skeptical about these things. They don't think they're safe, but they are. They're drop safe, they have internal safeties, and right up here on this trigger, you have to depress this middle part also for this gun to go off, so it's absolutely safe. But these Glocks, I mean, they have a reputation of being very, very reliable, and they're the ones that got the game started altogether. Now, Glock has been copied so many times. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's they get copied more than Rolex watches, and the problem with them, they're very similar to another company that I love dearly, which is Colt. A lot of these patents run out, and anybody can copy anything. So Smith & Wesson came out with one. I don't have one right here, but it's a cheaper polymer frame gun. It's very similar to a Glock, like a Glock 17. So it would have a frame size about like this. This is a 19X, but it was a full-size 9mm frame, and Glock actually sued them over it because it was a polymer frame just like this one, and I think they had like a stainless slide on them or something like that. They were 9mm. They broke down just like a Glock. They were striker fired. Glock sued them, and to my knowledge, I think Smith & Wesson just settled the lawsuit, and they had to pay a royalty for every one they sold, and they were selling so many of them since they were cheaper than the Glock. they just did it. They probably just priced in the royalty to the end user. That's what I would do if I owned the company. But anyway, folks, Glock is what started it all. So we got a variety of different Glocks here. We got the Glock 19. This is probably the most popular handgun in the world. We have the Glock 26 here. This is the baby Glock. This is the carry compact one in 9mm. I'll show you that it's not loaded. We have a Glock 19X, which is, this is kind of a hybrid gun. Every one of these guns I should have a video on going in depth on them. But this is a 9mm. This is the full-size frame with a short and slide on it. It's kind of like I call it a commander size Glock. We have a Glock 44. This is a 22 long rifle one. This is the exact same size as the Glock 19. So if you look at them next to each other, they're the same size. And a lot of people use this for training purposes, and like beginning shooters can buy one of those because there's virtually no recoil whatsoever. This is a polymer frame, and it's also got a polymer slide to it. The whole slide is polymer on this thing. The only part of this thing that's metal is the lower part where it makes contact with the rub points on the frame. 22 long rifle. It's kind of a neat gun though, but it's the exact same dimensions. And I'll do a video one day. I'll compare these two, but they are virtually identical in size, like in every way. All the same holsters work, everything. But that's kind of a neat little gun. We have a Glock 21. This is an awesome machine here. This is a full size 45. This is just a plain Jane Gen 4 Glock 21, full size. A big gun though. It shoots 45 ACP, the Lord's caliber. This is actually a man's gun, polymer frame. And we have a Glock 30S, which is a subcompact 45. This is what I actually carry every single day of my life. This is my carry gun, and because I'm a 45 ACP guy, because I'm smart. And anyway, Glock, they're the ones that started the whole polymer game. They got all this started for us and paved the way for all the other one of these brands to exist. So Smith & Wesson got sued, and then a lot of these patents run out and everything. And you know, when you get big corporations like this, they can figure out a way to, you know, get around things, change a couple little things. So you have cheaper companies like this one right here. This is a Taurus G3C. This is a little 9mm striker fired gun. This thing works and functions identical to a Glock. I mean, it is identical. Now, there's a couple little parts here and there that are a little different. It makes it a little different. The trigger's a little different on this thing. Like, it's got this big old long weird take up on it. But this thing is about half the cost of a Glock. And it's a polymer frame, as you can see. Metal slide. But this is an awesome gun. It's just 100% reliable. I call it Glock reliable. They just, you know, they pretty much copied the Glock. Then you have companies like, I don't know, Sig Sauer. This is a Sig P320. This is an awesome gun. This is also chambered in 45 ACP. This is, I mean, probably one of my favorite just go to the range and shoot guns. I mean, this thing is just a dream to shoot. I think the trigger feels a little bit better than a Glock, but it's just an awesome gun. This is the one that the military adopted for the for the modular handgun program. Glock, SIG, Beretta, a lot of them submitted their firearms to them. Glock submitted actually this exact gun here, this 19X, and Sig Sauer presented what they call the M17, which is just a Coyote Chan version of this gun here, only a 9mm, which, I mean, I guess they just didn't want a 45. They just didn't want to win any more wars. You know, 45 won 2 world wars. But anyway, this is the one that actually won out in the end. This is an excellent gun. It's striker fired, polymer frame pistol. I'm not going to go too far in depth about them. Then you got your little pocket carry guns here. You got, this thing was an actual phenomenon when it came out. This is a little Ruger LCP. Polymer frame. This is a 380 actually. This isn't even a 9mm. So when you're barely armed with a 9mm, you're really barely armed when you have one of these. But this is a little pocket gun. This one here has a Crimson Trace laser on it, a little clip for your, you know, your belt or putting it in your pocket or something like that. But yeah, every one of these major brands have gotten into these little polymer frames. The only one that I've wanted to have here, and I didn't realize I didn't have one, was a Springfield XD. They're a big rival to Glocks, and there's a large following with those things too. But yeah, you even got these little 380 guns. You know, this thing can literally fit in the palm of your hand. So it's real good little carry piece, like a pocket gun, like if you're wearing gym shorts or something like that. And then you get into what a Gucci Glocker's dream is. This is another thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Gucci Glockers. So these polymer frame guns, this is an FN 545. This is a pretty new design. This gun's been out less than a year. It's chambered in 45 ACP. Comes with a threaded barrel. This is a tactical version, all ambidextrous stuff on it, and this one's pretty decked out. This gun's not real cheap to begin with, but you have things like, I've got a Surefire light on it, Surefire weapon light. It's an X300 Ultra, and then I have the dual illuminated Trijicon RMR on top of it. So this one's super cool because it doesn't require any batteries. It has tritium on the inside of it and for night, and then it has a fiber optic top of it that gathers the light for the daytime. And I don't know if I'll be able to pick this up or not on the camera, but I'll show you if I can get it to work. I don't think I'm going to be able to pick this up on the camera, but this is a 8 MOA green triangle. The ones that I have in it, because my eyes pick up green better, and it's the largest one because this is not a long range gun. So, but this one, I haven't done a lot of talking about this gun yet on this channel because I've actually got a suppressor ordered for it, and it's going to take a while for it to, you know, go through all the paperwork, you know, for the class 3 stuff. But the reason I brought this gun out here to show you, these polymer guns, man, they're just absolutely, people just go nuts accessorizing them out. I mean, every one of these have got some type of rail on them here. You know, and some of them's got Picatinny rails. Glock has their own different kinds of rails where you can attach lights and stuff like that on them. You have the ones that have the plate mounts on them, so you can put optics on them and everything like that. You got threaded barrels on them where you can put suppressors on them or whatever they do. But usually what I found, folks, is especially with the Glocks, and I guess you could include any of them, you know, they have the Glocks just the most the most accessorized gun in the world. There's nothing they don't make for them. They make sights for them. Like this one here has, these are actually factory Glock night sights on it. If you can see right here, tritium night sights. They're actually made by Glock. I don't know if we'll get it to focus or not, but they're actual Glock factory sights, because Glocks are a blank slate when you get them. So if you get a stock factory Glock, these sights are actually plastic on them. And that's not real good, because if you got in a real bad, distressful situation, like you can take something like this and you can use this to rack it. You could rack it on a counter, on a piece of wood or something like that. You could do that to this too, if you can catch it on there, because these are metal sights, but the factory Glock sights are not. These are plastic, and I'm assuming they would probably break off very easily. But I think what Glock understands, they get a lot of slack for putting plastic sights on them and all, but I think they understand that people like to accessorize stuff. I mean, people like to take stuff, and this is a Gucci Glocker string. It's got everything you could possibly imagine to do to a weapon, and they know that everybody's going to do that to this thing too, so why waste the money in production? They'll just go, because people are going to go buy night sights or suppressor height sights and put optics on them and whatever. I mean, they just do everything to them. But folks, what I wanted to discuss with you is these things are not bad guns, and one of the big advantages to these things is they are cheap. I mean, these are cheap. There's, with the exception of this thing right here, there's no gun here that costs probably over 500 bucks. None of them. Every single one of these other guns can be bought for $500 or less. And some of them are less, and some of them are right on the $500 range. Some of them maybe a couple dollars more, but these are, I think of a Glock or a SIG P320 or any of these Polymer Wonders here, I think it was $500 guns. Like I said, this one's going to be the exception. This is going to be a little pricey right here, this 545 Tactical. But that's a whole different ball game here. And the only reason I even have this classed with the rest of them is I wanted to show you the accessories. I'm not really into Gucci Glocks or, you know, Gucci and things out, putting big old lights and everything on them. But this one, I wanted to have one that was pretty decked out, and this is my decked out one. And like I said, I'm waiting on the suppressor to come, and this thing will be finished, and then I will have a ton of money in this thing with the suppressor and all that. But it's not about money. I'm just telling you, that's a big advantage. These things are extremely cheap. They're fairly cheap to accessorize. You know, you can get sights for $100 for them. You can get triggers for, I don't even know what they cost, because I don't really buy aftermarket triggers. You can do little things like trigger bars and all that. So what I'm going to do for you here, folks, is I'm going to show you a couple of these things and show you how similar they are. So this is a full-size Glock. We're going to make sure it's not loaded. We're going to pull the trigger, and all you do to break down these things down is just take these two takedown levers out, and it comes apart. That's it. This whole thing, this entire frame here, plastic, made out of plastic. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a couple of them. We're going to take this Taurus here, which is a totally different brand. Pull the trigger. We're going to do the same thing we did with the Glock. Take the two takedown levers down. It literally comes apart just like a Glock. Same exact thing. So if you take these things here and you hold it next to a Glock, besides the size difference, it's literally the same thing. They're both striker fired. They both look pretty much identical to them. They're both plastic, and here you bang them together. It feels like a toy. So we'll take another brand of them. Take Sig Sauer here. Make sure it's not loaded. We're gonna, this one you have to lock back. Do the takedown lever. Release the slide and comes off. And once again, they look the same. All these striker fire guns all look the same. They all take down about the same, you know, with a couple little differences, but all of them, they feel like plastic. So there's nothing pretty about them, you know. You're not gonna hurt them, you're not gonna scratch them up or anything like that. They're just, it is what it is. And the people that collect these things, you know, I did a video here about collectible firearms. Well, I have a friend of mine that collects Glocks, and I've asked him a few times what is wrong with him. A Glock is a Glock. There's nothing collectible about it. I mean, no weapon on here that I have sitting here in front of you is aesthetically pleasing to the eye. None of them are. They all look like a piece of black plastic. This one looks like a piece of peanut butter plastic. All the rest of them are just black plastic, and they pretty much all look the same. They pretty much all take apart the same. They pretty much all operate the same. They're all internal striker fired guns, and they all do exactly the same thing. So I guess I'm a little bit of a lunatic too, because I think once you have one, you pretty much have all of them. And I have more than one of them sitting here right here. So it tells me I'm just as much of a lunatic as some of these Gucci Glockers here. But I mean, I have my different reasons for having them. There's nothing wrong with having more than one firearm, especially if it's something you like and it's a hobby. But I just like to give people a hard time sometime. But to put these things back together, as you can see, I could snap these things together and at the blink of an eye, and they just snap right back together like nothing. Well, I say like nothing. I've got to put the recoil spring in it first. But yeah, they just snap together, and there's no tools required to work on these things. I literally think a kindergarten child could take one of these apart and put it back together and have it working. Same with all of them, and that was literally 3 different brands that I just took apart, and they all go back together the same exact way, all of them. There's no difference in any of these guns. They're all the same. So, big advantage. The aftermarket support is huge for it. The cost is next to nothing to buy one. These things are so cheap, and there's virtually no skill required. I mean, you can buy any of this stuff on Amazon and just snap it on your kitchen table in a few minutes. I mean, I do not have one tool out here, and I just took 3 guns apart like it was nothing. And I could just do it all day long. And all of them, just the little recoil spring pops out, and then the barrel falls out of it. And it's true, every single one of these tear apart the same way. But I want to give a little love to these Polymer Guns. I know I give people a hard time about the Polymer Wonders and the Glocks and all that, but as you can see, folks, I have them too, and they're not going anywhere. So you might as well get used to them. You might as well learn how to shoot them. Might as well learn how to like them, because they're not going anywhere. This is kind of like the electric cars of the world. They're taking over the gasoline engines, and you're just gonna have to deal with it one day. And one day, you're not gonna be able to buy the beautiful steel revolvers or the 1911s or the Desert Eagles or whatever. It's gonna be all this stuff right here. That's what you're gonna have to deal with. So I guess you pretty much got to get used to it. But as you can see, folks, I don't hate Polymer Guns. I usually like to lean towards things that look cool and all that, and these are boring to me. I mean, they all look the same. Besides having a flashlight and an optic on one, you can't tell the difference in any of them. They're all the same shape. They're almost all the same color. There's nothing different about them. It doesn't matter what brand you pick. Usually they're reliable. That's another big advantage to them. They just run like a Swiss watch. Every one of them do. There's not a gun on here that I wouldn't trust my life with. Every single one of them. Now, they all have different sizes and purposes and all that, but every one of these guns I'd pick up right now and trust with my life, because they do not malfunction. So, very low maintenance, very easy to work on, very easy to clean, very easy to find parts for, very inexpensive. How can you go wrong, folks? Polymer Wonders of the world are taking over, and you can jump on the train, or you can sit there and continue to complain about them. But I'm just telling you, folks, coming from an old school state of mind, there's nothing wrong with Polymer Guns. And I wanted to just do this quick video and show you a little bit variety of them, and I'll be happy to answer any question that you have about any of these weapons here. I have videos on every single one of them, and if I don't know the answer to them, I'm not an expert on any of these, but if I don't know the answer, I'll be happy to find the answer for you folks. And thank you very much for watching my video, and you folks have a great day.